Hi, everyone. My name is Andy Nelson, and I'm a coach here with Glover U. I'm excited today to bring you all an introduction into hybrid farming. Now, we're in the middle of our spring tour, which is the 13 Ways to Adapt and Thrive this summer tour that Glover U is putting on all across North America. I think we visited about 35 cities in total, bringing this message out to the market. One of those ways that we talk about on the tour is hybrid farming. Now, hybrid farming is something that's become more prevalent, I would say, in the last 18 to 24 months. And I'm going to dive in today to talk to you guys about what hybrid farming is, about how to get started with hybrid farming, and why hybrid farming is effective. Now, this is just an intro session at our upcoming Live and Real retreat in Traverse City, Michigan in July 15th through the 18th to be exact. We're going to spend a lot more time with a deep dive into hybrid farming, how to get a plan off the ground, and how to start running an effective business with hybrid farming as a primary lead source. What is hybrid farming? Imagine if traditional farming and circle prospecting had a baby. What this is, and the way that Jeff Glover and I have come to define hybrid farming is a monthly communication plan to one particular neighborhood, notifying them of all the listings and sales. Now, that's traditionally a piece of traditional farming. So traditional farming would be a monthly communication, usually by postcard, whenever there's a listing or a home sold in that neighborhood. That's traditional farming by mail. So we're doing direct mail to each home in a neighborhood that when there's a sale. Now, there's not a sale in each neighborhood every month, right? So that's where traditional farming tends to fall off and miss the bar. Circle prospecting is somewhat similar in the fact that whenever there's a just listed or a just sold, it's a reason for you to reach out. Circle prospecting is reaching out around a particular home that just sold by phone call, by door knocking, to get in front of that person face to face. That's circle prospecting. But what happens in the event that there's no sales in a neighborhood, or you don't have a reason to reach out to a particular neighborhood? That's where hybrid farming comes in. Hybrid farming comes in and is a very, very targeted farming effort. And it's exactly that. It's a hybrid of the two. There's pieces of direct mail that go out. There are phone calls, there are door knocks, there are events. All are pieces of hybrid farming. Now, where do I get started? Andy, how do I hybrid farm? Traditionally, there's a few keys that we want you to look for, or that we look for when we're selecting a neighborhood to hybrid farm. And listen, this is not something that's a pie in the sky or a fairy idea. I am actively hybrid farming several neighborhoods right around my own. And I'll go back to, before getting into how to select a neighborhood, I'll go back to why hybrid farming is effective. During the global pandemic, when a lot of us were forced to work from home or could not work at all, and we were forced to stay at home, it became exciting again to go to the mailbox. It became exciting again to hold a physical piece of mail in your hand. And listen, I'm an 80s baby, so growing up in North Carolina, it was exciting to run to the mailbox as a kid. I really, really enjoyed that. It was during the summer. Listen, small town. We lived a pretty boring life as a child, and it was exciting to run to the mailbox. Beyond that, it's coming back to us. It came back a lot during COVID, where people were excited to get physical mail in their hands. Additionally, when you market to someone via physical mail, statistics show us they feel more valued. They feel the consumer feels more appreciated and more valued when there's a piece of direct mail that comes to them. Vice junk in their email or junk in their spam or those emails that no one even reads. They just see the subject line and delete. Direct mail is a great piece of that. Additionally, door knocking in the last 12 months has become popular again. Almost. It was as if during COVID people didn't want to come to the door, but they were willing to accept a piece of mail. That's part one. Part two, they were home, so they were more willing to answer a phone call. That's part of circle prospecting. And then part three, more people have just gotten used to opening the door. So we're seeing an increase in direct mail and an improvement in direct mail efficiency. We're seeing an increase in circle prospecting answer rates and door knocking open rates. Hybrid farming is all of these, and that's why it's so effective. Now, how do you select a neighborhood when it's time to hybrid farm? So I mentioned that I hybrid farm my neighborhood and several neighborhoods around mine, and they were rolled out kind of one at a time so I could get a system in place. The biggest thing to understand with hybrid farming is this is a long-term play. This is not I sent 2 postcards, didn't get any listings, time to give up. Not one of those at all. All right. In fact, it took 16 months of farming my own neighborhood before I got my first listing. 16 months. This is not a short-term play. Now, I'll give an example. A few years ago, and I don't know all the details, there was a study performed by the National Association of Realtors, and I'm quoting this from memory, not from any reference material, okay? But there was a study not too long ago where the National Association of Realtors mailed postcards into a neighborhood with a certain realtor's face on them. And after a period of time, they went back to the neighborhood and they surveyed the neighborhood and they said, who is the preferred realtor in your neighborhood? And a large portion of the survey takers referenced the realtor on the postcard, the real estate agent on the postcard. That agent never existed. That agent was someone that was made up as a part of the study. And because of the consistency of his mailings, because of the consistency of the postcard, the name stuck with those in the neighborhood. So, hybrid farming works. Okay. Number one target when identifying the types of neighborhoods you want to look for is at least a 5% turnover rate. 5% turnover rate. That's a good number for most of the country. If you're in an area that has higher turnover, maybe look for a neighborhood that has a little higher turnover rate. I like 6 or 7 myself, but at a minimum, 5%. Easy way to figure that out. Go to the map, go to the MLS, draw a map around the neighborhood, and just count the rooftops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Count how many houses are in that neighborhood. And then pull the sales history. How many have sold in the last 12 months? If there's 200 houses and 10 have sold, that's a 5% turnover rate. We'll simplify the math. If there's 100 houses and 7 have sold, that's a 7% turnover rate. Now, I will caution you not to get too caught up on 1 year's history. Go back 2 years, go back 3 years, and take an average. Because there could have been 3 that sold last year and 5 that sold this year. And if you pull only 1 year's history, your target turnover rate will actually miss the mark. So check back 2 years, check back 3 years even to see what the turnover rate is. Point number 2, when it comes to identifying a neighborhood, average price point. Okay, we recommend within $100,000, so your price range of the neighborhoods, you want to be within $100K of your average price point, your average sales point in your market. So I'll give you an example. In my market, the average price point is $350,000. So I'm looking for neighborhoods between $250,000 and $450,000 to farm. Now, most of you are probably thinking, why wouldn't I just target the higher end neighborhoods, the more higher end neighborhoods, to increase my average sale price. So you can, and yet what we have found is there's usually one or two really solid realtors that own those luxury neighborhoods, those higher end neighborhoods, and they're just tougher to crack into. And two, there's usually lower turnover rate. So if you're doing it based on turnover rate, a lot of those neighborhoods probably don't meet the mark. If you're doing it based on average price points, we know those higher end neighborhoods are over the mark as well. Think about the higher end neighborhoods where there are, attorneys and doctors, and even other real estate agents that live in these neighborhoods. Maybe that neighborhood belongs to a country club and they have to use the preferred country club realtor. So for that reason, we like to stick plus or minus 100K of the average price point. This is also where you're going to see the most sales. You're going to see higher turnover rates in those entry-level homes, those first-time buyer homes, maybe those move-up buyer homes. You're going to see a higher turnover rate. Number 3, proximity. So when we're identifying the types of neighborhoods to farm, proximity. You want to make yourself present in those areas. For me, I mentioned I can tell you exactly 678 homes that I farm. It's a combination of 5 neighborhoods. One of them is my own, and there are 4 additional ones that I pass every day on the way home. Why is this important? Andy, why does it matter that I drive past these neighborhoods? Because on a day like today, when the weather's nice, I can put my windows down and I can just turn right into that neighborhood and do a quick cruise through, wave at the people that are walking by, wave at the people that are out walking their dogs, make my face visible, make myself recognizable so it starts to stick within their minds. Now, I don't do this every day. Obviously, once a week I'll pull in one of those neighborhoods. The next week I'll pull into another neighborhood. However, anytime you see a sign about a neighborhood event, you want to get involved. If there's a community yard sale or a community garage sale, get involved, sponsor, offer something of value to the neighbors. Make yourself known. This is the other importance of proximity. Because you drive by on a Thursday afternoon and you see the sign that says community yard sale on Saturday, you know to be there. You're around those areas and involved, and that's the way you become recognizable. Make yourself sticky. Make it to a point where everyone recognizes you and knows that you are the realtor. Listen, my wife and I will go for walks in those surrounding neighborhoods wearing my branded I'm a realtor, real estate company shirts, material, sweatshirts, depending on the time of year. We'll just go for a walk in those neighborhoods so other people see us and make the connection. The 4th thing that we want you to evaluate when planning an area to hybrid farm is just your local knowledge. There are always things that are happening in the local area that could affect whether you choose to hybrid farm an area or not. Listen, pay attention. Are there neighborhoods that people are moving to? Or are there neighborhoods that people are moving out of in a hurry or more than others? Identify those. There's a neighborhood I just recently started farming. All original owners. Most of the homes were built in the 90s. And these people are now at an age where it's time to downsize. So they're downsizing from their homes that they're in because of the ages that they're reaching. Having local knowledge, local specific neighborhood knowledge like this can be hugely helpful when identifying neighborhoods to hybrid farm. Things like schools, even keep that in mind. Is there a new shopping center being built? Is there a new school being built where neighborhoods will flourish? Maybe. The best example I can give you of this one is an Amazon warehouse. Here in my local market, there were 2 really nice neighborhoods just at the top end of the average price point. Farmland separated the 2 until Amazon decided to put a distribution center there. Most of those people were not happy about having an Amazon distribution center right next door. That's a key to start farming those neighborhoods. And if you think about hybrid farming as a long-term play, the minute the news breaks that Amazon's building a warehouse, those people are going to be frustrated. They're going to start to look at their options, and that's when we need to hit them with contact. Followed by the lull, because there's the period where Amazon has to go through all of the processes to get approval for their building. Those people that live in the neighborhoods are going to calm down. They're going to be a little more cool about it. And yet, they keep hearing from you every single month. And then when construction starts and their anger flares back up, guess who's there to save the day? That agent who consistently hybrid farmed that neighborhood for a period of 18 to 24 months. Okay, as we're ready to wrap this up, I just want to get you guys a quick recap on the intro to hybrid farming. So by definition, a monthly communication plan to a particular neighborhood or group of neighborhoods, in my case, notifying them of all the listings and sales. A monthly communication plan. Now, how do we identify a farm? We recommend starting with a neighborhood or a group of homes from around 150 to 300 homes with at least a 5% turnover rate. At least 5% of the homes sell in that area every single year. And then what do you do each month? Have a plan every single month that you know how you are communicating with that neighborhood. And if you cannot commit to doing this to 12 to 18 months, we do not recommend hybrid farming as an option for you. We recommend this being something that you can truly commit to, and it will pay off in the long run. We're starting by planting the seeds. The monthly continuing contact is how you water it, and then eventually it grows. It's farming. Lastly, what are you sharing? If you have nothing else to share, all the listings and all the sales in the neighborhood, regardless of who sells them. So if you're not the listing agent, you don't call and say, I just sold. A home just sold. Or if you represented the buyer, you can call and say, I just sold. Or a home just sold if you did not represent the buyer. So that's the basis. I've got tons. Look, there's 12 more pages of notes here that I'm bringing with me to Traverse City, Michigan for that breakout session. I hope to see you all there so we can get started with your hybrid farming.